complexion, value addition to natural products, and animal and human health. But number 2 was to promote and harness linkage to society and the local industry, and scientific and technological response to local needs had also to be promoted. And here the intention, we wanted to avoid the traditional social divide between academia and industry. But number 3, thrust and focus was to strive for a combination of strong local and global connection. So these were the schools. You had life sciences and bioengineering, and in those areas, we had so many ideas of what would come out of this. With bioengineering, we expected that we would be able to see this institution come up with even, vaccination, vaccines. And then you had this School of Computational and Communication Science and Engineering. Very different from traditional names of schools. And then you had the School of Materials, Energy, Water and Environmental Sciences, MEWS, which was addressing environment, people, industry, through management of material, energy, and water. But within this, you therefore had water and environmental science and engineering. And then you had material science and engineering. But 3, you had sustainable energy science and engineering. Mr. Vice Chancellor, what was to follow next was earth sciences and engineering. This was still on the drawing board by the time I left, but we thought this was very, very important. And then we had the School of Business Studies and Humanities. I've said so much about it's important, I don't need to repeat that. I've said it again and again, and I think it is important. And I wish to believe that people still see and appreciate the need to have bush at NM-AIST. One of the needs and relevance of bush at NM-AIST is demonstrated by the envisaged emphasis we wanted to put on innovation and entrepreneurship. And in our design, we wanted all students to take innovation and entrepreneurship under common courses delivered by Bush. But we also wanted student research to be directed to address real needs, problems, and challenges facing the society and the industry. By doing that, we essentially meant we wanted our students to become problem solvers. 3, all students are required to identify business opportunities emanating from their research work. I remember we talk about it. Make sure what comes out of your research is identification of business opportunities emanating from the research one has it. And 4, students were encouraged to team up and develop business plans on some of the identified business opportunities. We started working on this, and I remember we reached a point where we are taking our students to the US for competition, but we also had the African Grant Challenge being organized here with the participants from various parts of Africa. And business plan competition, as I said, were being organized and facilitated by external experts. We also had in mind and started working on an innovation and entrepreneurship acceleration mechanism and program. And in this case, what we had in mind was it should have the following. One, technology-related opportunity identification and business idea development. And this led to the African Grant Challenge. Number two, we emphasized the training on business plan development, which enabled the student to come up with the business, a development of business plans. Number three, we were able to have African business plan competition. We were able to organize those, and four, we were able to participate, to have our teams participate in international business plan competition. And finally, by the time I left, the incubator hadn't really taken off. We were working on it, but I was advised that eventually the incubator is placed. So a technological business incubation was intended to be established for promising business plans in the campus. On research and innovation, the research and innovation agenda of NM-AIST was driven by the desire to respond to the needs and problems of the society and industry. And it emphasized multidisciplinarity. And the approach was to derive the needs and the problems from the community and the industry, as demonstrated by that part of the right-hand side. And then take these derived needs and problems into the NM-AIST lab. Eventually generate solutions which were intended to be fed back to the communities so as to bring about transformation. In other words, this is essentially the model where you have on the left-hand side, you have the society and industry, their needs and problems. On the right-hand side, you have as the outcome, better living and prosperous industry. Made possible through graduates, competitive graduates, innovation, and those innovative solutions. And in between you have them NM-AIST through their schools, Lisbon, Bush, Mewes, Coxer, and so forth, carrying out the processes which eventually contribute to better living and prosperous industry. Essentially, this is emphasized in saying the process outlined, the output and the outcome is essentially to be able to meet the needs and problems of the society and industry. Similarly, this is being said. And this one here is a schematic model for an interdisciplinary approach to address agricultural and food security problems. It is interdisciplinary, and you see it very clearly involving the players in the various schools in NM-AIST. And each school has a role, as opposed to working in silos. When it comes to public service and outreach, the thrust and focus of NM-AIST PPP was a mechanism for technology transfer and co-creation to ensure NM-AIST's innovations and other technological solutions to ensure that they effectively address real needs. But two mechanisms facilitate engagement of public and private sector in promoting STEM in schools and a more science literate Tanzanian and East African society. And number three was an initiative for promotion of productive partnership to facilitate wealth creation, economic growth, and sustainable development, and thereby ensure return on investment of NM-AIST. In this partnership, NM-AIST was expected to be able to offer. Often in partnership, partners want to say, want the responses to the question, what is in it for me? Those wanting to partner with NM-AIST, what is it that they gain? And we are saying NM-AIST has the following to offer to partnership. One, deployment of master's, PhD, and postdoc students in developing scientific and technological solutions to real-life problems. Two was availability of high-level scientific and professional expertise from resident and adjunct faculty members. Three was testing and quality assurance, in other words, certification facilities. Four were the opportunities for social recognition. And five were the opportunities for contribution to science, engineering, technology, and innovation change in Tanzania and Eastern Africa. And NM-AIST was essentially intended to be extending services to society and industry, which include extending NM-AIST arm to industry and society by contributing through continuing education and professional development programs, through enabling leveraging of NM-AIST international networks for the benefit of society and industry, and through sharing knowledge and technologies derived from the global knowledge pool, through sharing this with the society and the industry. But number two, NM-AIST service was to include promoting science, technology, innovation, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM in schools, and preparing future NM-AIST students. Those of you who were here then will remember the e-reader project, which Honorable Peter was excited about it, and he kept following me, wanting to get the project also implemented in Katavi. And, you know, the mobile phone mediated education and training, among others. But number three NM-AIST services was meant to include contributing to the promotion of a more science-literate Tanzanian and Eastern African society. Mr. Vice Chancellor, we then came up with the agreement to have Nelson Mandela Science, Engineering and Technology Week. We wanted it held every year in the month of July in honor of Nelson Mandela. The running theme at the time was decided to be innovation for change, become a Nelson Mandela change maker. And the events were to include public lectures, open weekend exhibition, annual STEM and Sept convention, Nobel symposium, and science fair for secondary schools. I remember one of the students then, who is now a member of staff, who played very well the role of, you know, dealing with Nobel symposium. I think this was Dr. Mwamila. I don't know if she is around, but she was excited about it. She enjoyed it a great deal, and she performed well. I remember, and the youngsters were excited about hearing about it. Essentially, this was intended to see to study the life of the Nobel Prize winners and how they managed to eventually become Nobel winners. And what one observed was that there are normal beings. Anybody could become a Nobel Prize if, you know, one is taken through the right tunnel. And then we had the innovation competition, and the intention was to come up with Nelson Mandela Change Maker Awards. And we thought it was important to have blood donation during such weeks. Now, when we started, there was a certain academic human resource mix that was required to assure NM-AIST vibrancy and dynamism. And this included core permanent and contract faculty recruited competitively from within and outside the Eastern African region. But number two, also very important, was to include a pool of adjunct professors from collaborating institutions and the diaspora. And many of them had volunteered